Morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. We'll try to get this done before it gets too wet, but we're here at the Inner Harbor, which is an artery of Onondaga Lake and the Onondaga Creek. And if you think about what we've done in county government and as a community over the last 30 years, and something that we've done very well, it has been the cleanup of Onondaga Lake. And because we cleaned that lake's future is very, very bright. And when you look at what's happened around the lake with the park system, with the Loop the Lake Trail, the amphitheater, and then you looked at the development that started to happen in the city of Syracuse and the west side of the lake, that's because we had a clean lake again. And today's announcement is very much tied to those efforts. And we're standing here today. Tomorrow we got the main event, my budget address. I know you've all been waiting a long time for that. But we will tomorrow have really a transformational proposal in our budget. And when you think about everything we've been through related to dealing with the 100-year pandemic, having to change the way we live life, and then, but also have a unique opportunity to try to transform our community and do things a little different, that's what we want to do with this budget. So I'm happy to announce that in our budget that we will present to the legislature tomorrow, we're going to be proposing an $85 million aquarium right here in the Inner Harbor in the city of Syracuse. The process has been as follows. We have been working on this in partnership with our Parks Department, our zoo, and the Central New York Regional Planning Board for months. When I first became county executive, Ted Fox and I talked about this and about the need for this type of project. David Botar and our team have gotten together. We had a market study done, and the consultant's report came back, not just saying it's feasible, but it will be highly successful. And so then you look at what this project can do outside of being a major economic stimulus. Really the largest piece of entertainment infrastructure investment from the public that we've seen in generations. Hundreds of good paying trades and construction jobs. Hundreds of permanent jobs. But then you look at what it will do for this neighborhood and the potential this neighborhood has. It will be a catalyst for development moving forward. And then you look at everything else we're doing in our community from an educational standpoint, recognizing STEM and STEAM are really the educational curriculum of the future, giving opportunities to kids who've never been to this type of venue because there isn't one in upstate New York, but they can come here right here. There's just so many synergies. And so we are so excited about this. We will ask for $35 million in the budget in 2022. And then we'll turn around as we anticipate a very large surplus in 2021 and ask the legislature to appropriate $50 million in 2022 after the books are closed in 2021. So we're going to build an $85 million aquarium. We're going to create hundreds of jobs, both construction and permanent. We're going to transform this neighborhood and continue the momentum that we've had with the cleanup of Onondaga Lake, and we're going to pay cash. So at this point, I'd like to call up our partner, Mayor Walsh, to talk about the different impacts that this type of project could have for the city. Mayor?
Great. Thank you, County Executive. This is big, and it's a long time coming. There have been so many people over the years that have been working on redeveloping our city's lakefront, and specifically the Inner Harbor. And we've certainly had a number of bumps in the road along the way. But as you can see around us, the investment is happening. But what the county executive is proposing today, this aquarium, will accelerate that investment. And we couldn't be more excited about it. We know that we need to continue to create good paying living wage jobs for our citizens. Glad to see many of our brothers and sisters in the trades here with us, and this will provide good jobs for our trades here in the community. And when you look at where we're headed as a community and what role our waterfront plays, we have the potential to be a true waterfront destination. The county has invested significantly in the cleanup of our lake, as well as in surrounding amenities. You look at what the amphitheater is doing. We've tried to do our part along Onondaga Creek and around the Inner Harbor. So it really is a convergence of opportunities that is going to help us take our waterfront, our Inner Harbor, and our community to the next level. District Councilor Pat Hogan is here with me, and he knows that this has been a long time coming. And not only is it a significant economic development opportunity and a significant workforce development opportunity, as the county executive pointed out, this is a significant opportunity for our young people. It will be a new educational amenity. We have Ted here from the zoo, and when you look at what the zoo does for our young people, what the Museum of Science and Technology does for our young people, what the new STEAM school will do for our young people, the aquarium fits perfectly into the approach that we've taken as a community, that we are going to give our kids fun, exciting, new experiences that are going to teach them the curriculum of science, technology, engineering, arts, and math that will prepare them for the jobs of the new economy. So again, I couldn't be more excited about this. I want to thank the county executive for making this significant, transformational, really historic investment in our lakefront. And I believe that this is going to help continue the progress of our city and our region and really take it to the next level. So, County Executive, thank you again. Thank you to all of our partners here, and we look forward to getting to work.
Thanks, Barry. Next, we'll have Greg Ladsett talk about the impact it has from the job market for our trades. Greg?
Thank you, County Executive. So, first I want to thank you, County Executive McMahon, for continuing to have the vision and pushing through development in Central New York in an era where there's still a lot of uncertainty. The jobs that would be created on the build would be, a few hundred jobs like you have heard. But one of the opportunities that the community would really benefit from is some of the apprenticeship readiness programs that have been put in place to do some of the younger workforce development, to reach out to some of the underserved communities, some of the youth graduating today that are interested in careers in constructions. Typically, it's about a one-year build on a project of this magnitude, and many people will have the opportunity to benefit that and get their jump start into the construction industry, and they can move on from there. But you will see that the transformation that continues here in this region in the lakefront development will actually just continue adding. And what it's doing is not only giving a career path and an opportunity for the construction workforce to work here in Central New York on a state-of-the-art, very hot topic project, but it'll also put another component in the arts and entertainment factor that's in here in our region. So people are going to be coming here not only to see the aquarium, but they're also going to be coming here to stay and play. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Greg. And next we'll hear from Ted Fox, our great zoo director, to talk about the opportunities we have to lead in this space. Ted?
Thank you very much. The evolution of zoos and aquariums nationally and globally has becoming the credible sources for our youth for science, technology, conservation are so impactful for every community. It's a kind of an unheard story that we are collaborative with so many universities around the Northeast. Many of them come to the zoo to do internships and clinical work in our profession, learning about how to be better land stewards of the whole planet and what we do. And certainly water comes into every one of those conversations, oceans, rivers, creeks, and so forth. So we have a perfect location. Many cities around the country have had a blight-ridden place like New England Aquarium in Boston, a Monterey Bay Aquarium in Monterey. There's several others that had a situation just like this where there's a stagnant area that needed more. An aquarium came in and made that change for those communities, and we certainly can do that here. Currently, there's accredited zoos and aquariums. There's about 240. Of those, there's only 60 accredited aquariums in the whole nation. So there's plenty of room to grow. There's none in central New York, so this is a perfect opportunity to bring that here, to bring in our school districts, to reach out to the rural folks as well, to bring everybody together to understand how important it is and help us collaborate with the zoo about these programs and what we can do to show how much we care about this community. Thank you.
Thanks, Ted. Questions? Rick?
Who would operate it?
Yeah. So the process first will be we'll go through the budget process, right? And then work with the legislature to get approval. Just like the zoo, we have a public-private partnership now. You'll look at some sort of public-private partnership with the aquarium as far as an operation goes.
Who owns this land?
Currently, this land is owned by Core. We've negotiated terms to hopefully close on this land, so it'll be owned by the county.
And it's just 1 acre. How many acres do you know?
What we got? 4 acres.
Where would it be? Right here?
Yeah, you'd have it. The renderings, if you come through and look, essentially be facing the hotel, wrapping around really right here, all the way down the parcel and the property.
Around down here, around the corner there?
Down, really this way. Yeah.
And how much would Core be paid for that 4 acres?
We're still going through negotiations right now, but needless to say, we'll be getting a very fair price. Yeah. Yeah, so how the market study that was done, again, we don't ever invest in anything unless we have outside independent experts who have no financial interest in the process to tell us it will work. And so essentially with these types of venues, you have huge numbers in the first 2 years, and then it starts to level off. We're talking about 500,000 visitors a year. You're talking about an economic impact, I believe, close to $40 million conservatively. $50 million, as my team's telling me, conservatively. And I think to Greg's point, outside of all the other synergies, the draw for our hospitality and tourism, our restaurants, these are all, everything we're doing in county government is aligned and it's planned. And it's planned recognizing that we have this unique opportunity now to do big things moving in to the next few years because of tough fiscal decisions we all made. So we have this unique opportunity to transform our community to make us and turn us into a true leisure stay destination, which will create jobs and support the industries that have, quite frankly, been hurt the hardest by the pandemic.
Why an aquarium?
Yeah, this has been something, and David Botar's here. David has been working on this project for 20 years. And our community was actually promised this project a couple times. And so why is because there's the demand for it, Tony, but also every other reason we talked about. And when you look at throughout upstate New York, there is no other state-of-the-art aquarium. You have a very small based location in Schenectady, which I don't think really measures to a full aquarium. And then you have Niagara Falls, essentially Canada. What we're doing here, there hasn't been a new aquarium built in the last 2 or 3 years in the country. What we're doing here will really be game-changing. And I think what we learned and what David has advised us on is you don't do something like this on the cheap if you want it to be sustainable. You have to invest the money now so it does draw and it continues to draw, and that's what we're doing here.
How big would it be and what kind of features would we see inside?
Yeah, I think a lot of that's TBD, Rick. The next part, we get the money, we start the procurement for engineering and design, but certainly you would see some exhibits that are stationary, but then you would essentially have traveling type exhibits. Is that the right terminology, Ted?
Yes.
Traveling, where you would have new, fresh exhibits consistently, so that you don't just come once a year, you come 2 or 3 times a year with your family. And again, anybody who lives in our county that wants to go to an aquarium is traveling 2, 3, maybe even longer hours away. That's all spending that we'll capture here and provide that service to our people, but we'll be bringing in hundreds of thousands of visitors each year as well.
You say it would be about 500,000 visitors?
Year 3, the first 2 years, it's supposed to be much higher. So we're not going to even, unlike other venues, it takes you time to build up to that mass scale. Usually with aquariums, you get that mass scale right away because everybody wants to come and see. So we look to be conservative. We looked at what year 3, 4, 5 looks like when we were making decisions, not years 1 and 2.
Could you tell us a little bit more about how you're going to pay that $85 million, where that comes from?
The county budget.
All in the 22 budget?
Yeah, so what we'll do is we're requesting $35 million in the 22 budget. We made tough decisions in 2020 and 2021, Rick. So we planned for the worst, and thankfully the worst has not happened. So we're estimating that we'll have a $60 million surplus in 2021, 60. And we'll go back in 2022 after the books close and ask for $50 million of that to be appropriated to this project. So that's where we'll get the $85 million.
When do you expect the project to be complete?
Yeah, I think it's too early to really speculate, but I think what would happen, we get the approvals, we'll start the engineering and the design. That's critical, right? So you got to get that right. My guess is you could see some construction starting in late 2022 if things go well.
Can you talk more about how bringing that here could potentially help the rest of the Inner Harbor?
Yeah, I think to the mayor, Councilor Hogan knows this. The density at this location will make these other parcels all around, all this land, very attractive for development. And the density of this location will help Destiny. It will help the hotels all around. So we're bringing density here, and it's all connected with the other public investments that have happened. The mayor mentioned the Creek Walk, the Loop the Lake Trail, the Empire State Trail. This is technically on the Empire State Trail. That can be marketed. You have the amphitheater right here. You have the fairgrounds right here. There's so many synergies going on now. We asked the consultant to look at multiple locations. I actually wanted the consultant to go somewhere else, but I listened to the consultants who know this industry better than I do, and they saw this location and they said this has to go here. This is what will work. This will be special.
This area's had like a history of like problems with environment and stuff under the ground. Are there any environmental issues? Also, the water in these pictures looks much better than that.
Ellen, have you looked into the sky right now? You know what happens to the water on cloudy days? It's raining and cloudy. Beautiful water in the pictures, I agree. But yeah, we've gotten very good at building on land around Onondaga Lake. Anytime you're going to build in something like this, you'll have some challenges. But we built a state-of-the-art amphitheater on solvay process waste beds. So I know our trades folks and our construction companies will have no problem getting it done here.
Although my question would be, Ryan, this is before both you and the mayor were in office. We heard all kinds of grand plans for the Inner Harbor over the years. Development, nightlife, there was really a lot of usage, boats hanging out here, festivities in the evening. I'm just wondering how an aquarium differs to what we've heard in the past, and could it draw some of that activity that we've heard about downtown?
Sure. Yeah, I would say what's different now is I'm putting it in a budget that's going to get voted on. And so that's different, right? Usually you have others who have plans, but there's lots of things that have to go right to make those plans a fruition. And I would agree with you if your point is once we build this, many of those other amenities and investments will happen. We can debate how quickly it will happen, but I believe that they certainly will happen. I believe that all of the vacant land here after we make this investment is more valuable and will be more attractive to the private sector to come in and develop around it.
Would it require an operating subsidy, or would this be profitable?
Yeah, so you're going to have, just like any venue, right, Rick, you're going to have tickets. People are going to buy tickets. Whether or not there is a small subsidy, you got to really dive into the numbers. But certainly, like any of our public-private partnerships we have with the Friends Group at the zoo, with ASM Global with the On Center complex and the amphitheater, sometimes you do have small subsidies, sometimes you don't. So certainly we don't anticipate this being a huge load on our operating budget and county government.
Will the county retain ownership after it's built?
Correct.
You'll just have someone else run.
Correct.
Now you said construction could start late 22, and so that would mean maybe opening late 23?
I'm not going to box myself in, Rick. I like to get things done quickly. But what's key is that this gets done right. The design element gets done right. And so that everything we want to accomplish to be a leader and recognized nationally, that happens. So certainly the first step is tomorrow we propose a budget. And the legislature is going to have questions, and we'll answer those questions, and we'll have everybody who understands how important this is to happen out there advocating to their legislator. But then we'll go through that procurement process, procure the people that will help make this all happen, and hopefully we'll see construction late 22, and hopefully if it can get done in 23, that'd be excellent.
I was just going to ask, is there a wider view of this? And I don't know if the mayor's better. I mean, this is a family kind of thing. So when you talk about new development, you've got the mall here. Are you thinking more of creating some, as opposed to bars or something that young people would go? You know what I mean? Is there somebody who's got a major looking at this and how they want the whole area to be developed?
Yeah, I'll have the mayor opine on this as well, but certainly Corps still has control over a lot of the land, and they have some things that they want to still see accomplished. But I think overall, our goal with Onondaga Lake and all of its water that's connected to it was to turn the lakefront neighborhood and the neighborhoods around the lake into the recreational epicenter of the community. And I think we're doing that. And you get an all of the above with that, Alan. You don't just really market to one group or another. You want to market it to everybody who lives, works, and play here. Mayor, do you want to touch on that as well?
A few other words. Alan, much of what we see in terms of development around here and throughout the city is largely driven by either residential or office development with some complementary first floor uses, restaurant, retail. In order to continue that, you need to build new demand generators. And so, we started down the path of redevelopment with the Inner Harbor. You see some of the outcomes of that: a new hotel, some new residential and retail development. We need something else to generate additional demand and additional activity, so we can build more residential and more office. So that's what is so exciting about this project. It's something that we don't have, and that doesn't exist within the region. So it creates a new opportunity to continue to expand upon and build the development. We know generally how we want to see development lay out in the Inner Harbor through plans, through zoning, but we need to make sure that we get the right mix of uses to continue that progress. And I also just want to mention, in terms of things that are unique about this project, we've talked a lot about the lake cleanup. The lake cleanup in and of itself is an attraction. It's something that people across the entire world are paying attention to, and it's a story that we as a community are very proud of and are eager to tell. And I think that that's the other opportunity that is going to be created with this aquarium, is an opportunity to tell that story to a broader audience, and to even generate some environmental tourism around that. So again, what makes this project unique is that it isn't just like any other development. It's something new that's going to catalyze additional development.
Ryan, could you tell us a little bit more about the $50 million?
Yeah. So anytime you look at these reports, and certainly we'll be sharing it with the legislature so the public will be able to see it as well. You look at the direct spending at the facility and at the venue, certainly the wages paid to the employees, and then certainly when you look at the traveling and tourism component of that, there's a dollar figure attached to each out of town traveler as well. So $50 million is probably a little conservative for this, but we'd rather be conservative and under promise and over deliver.
Did the consultant give you an idea of how wide an area this would draw from?
Yeah, what would we have, Todd? Was it 2 to 3 hours or?
50% within a 1
Here,
hour.
come on. Yep.
It would be 50% within a 1 hour, so that's residential, and then tourism is within 2 hours travel.
In 2 hours?
Yep, and that's and then beyond that, it's over 4 million people. So there's a large group of people that are within driving distance that we know would travel here for this.
About 4 million people within 2 hour drive?
That's right.
And Ted, you said because this is like the only one of this big in whole Buffalo to Albany, basically.
That's
The
right.
closest one was what?
Niagara Falls has an aquarium, but it's a landlocked aquarium. They have done some renovations to kind of update things, but it's a smaller a facility, and they draw on the tourism from Niagara Falls specifically. So outside of that, there aren't really any aquariums around. New York has one on Hudson, but that's a much different facility as well.
So would it be like, I'm familiar with a Boston Aquarium. Would it be something like that scale, that size?
Actually, it's going to probably be a little larger in terms of water volume. Theirs is 200,000 gallons. This would be potentially up to 600,000 gallons. But this is a bigger space too. They're landlocked again. They're right on the harbor. They built up. If you've been there, it's a circular experience with a kind of a one-way travel through it. This would be much different.
Other questions?
Could this potentially be the largest aquarium in the Northeast?
I don't know.
No, actually, it would be on the smaller side. It's proposed to be 80,000 square feet. So there are larger facilities, but this is what was so important about the feasibility study and Dave's work was coming up with the right size and the right space. Those are the really important things to consider, and that's why the consultant that they used was one that is specifically specialized in aquariums, zoos, and museums. So this is their industry, and for our space, for all the consideration of people traveling through and access to people within certain amounts of area, this is what should work in terms of size.
So it would be about 80,000 square feet, but the gallons would be up to 600,000
That's correct.
gallons.
Yep. Most of the aquariums that are coming online now, accredited ones, that you obviously need a couple charismatic exhibits with larger sharks or rays, or we haven't gotten down to that curatorial level of the collection yet, but we know that those are important components. But with Onondaga Lake here and all that we have to talk about with the cleanup of the lake and the rivers, we're in the one place in the country that water isn't really an issue, but we want to talk about that. It's so important, and this would be the perfect opportunity to do that.
So to characterize it, it's like one of the largest in the Northeast, or how would you characterize it?
It wouldn't be one of the largest in the Northeast. I mean, they're not Boston, but there's Mystic Aquarium. There's a lot of others around. But as we said, there's only 60 accredited, so that's just a little over one per state in the country. So they're spread around pretty well. This would be one of the largest and best accredited aquariums for people to visit, just like New England and some of the others. But the size again is appropriate to what is here. The space of the thing and the visitorship.
Yeah, and to that, I think you don't want to overbuild, right? You want to create something that's special, and then if the demand is there to do more, you can. And David and Ted talked about Chattanooga, Tennessee, how they had a very similar sized community to us, right? And that's really one of the communities that this study looked at. They essentially started out with a very similar sized aquarium and had tremendous success. So now they're doing additions because they've proved that their community can support something a little bit larger. And so certainly, those are always possibilities down the road, but those would be good problems to have. Anything else? No? Thanks, everybody.